Hello. We're live. Hajit, how are you?
Hello, we are live. Good, I'm great. How about
Excellent.
you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, especially with all the stuff we've been working on with PSADT updates and stuff that we'll talk about
Yeah.
shortly. But yeah, we're also actually running just before a webinar for Software Central and Robopack, which is coming up in exactly an hour's time. So we're going to have to jump off pretty quickly, actually, before
Yeah.
before the hour. Otherwise,
That's
we'll
really
crash.
a shorter office hours today.
Little shorter.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, anything new for you, or should we just jump into the stuff I've got?
Let's just jump in because PSADT has been the talk of the town. It's very hot right out there.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
yeah,
get in.
PSADT version 4.1 was released recently, like probably a couple of weeks, and even more recently, 4.11 was released. I think yesterday or today. I don't even know.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but 4.11 is now in the test environment in Robopack for internal testing, which means that it's pretty close to being released, I think. So that's good to see. I do have access to it, so I'll show that in a few moments. But yeah, it's a big jump, and it's also an interface change as well for the admins and also for the end users. So they're going to see a different screen when you show a welcome to them and when they have to defer and that kind of thing.
Right.
So it is.
Are you saying there's a big difference between 4.1 and 4.11?
No, I
Like,
don't actually know the difference between 4.1 and
okay.
1.1.
All right.
There are some fixes apparently for stuff that
Yeah.
I think minor stuff. I didn't actually look at it, but I know that we have now put 4.11
Mhm.
in rather than 4.1 because we might as well release the latest
Exactly.
version. So yeah, but the big change is from 3.9 um, 10, which is
Zero.
what we were
Right.
using
Right.
before, and that's got a huge difference between version 4
Right.
and version and the older version, and then even the jump from version 4 to 4.1 is also a pretty big jump because it removes service UI reliance, which means you can show a user interface without having to rely on service UI,
That's right.
um, which is it's good, but it's a big change. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's interesting to see. But let's jump in. As always, if you have any questions and you're watching live, please jump in on the chat on LinkedIn. Oh, saying that, I should probably get the chat up on LinkedIn because for some reason it doesn't appear to show on our chat interface here. The YouTube stuff comes through pretty quick, but LinkedIn seems to delay by about 5 minutes, which is probably too long. Um, so I'll jump into that and turn it down because I don't need to hear myself. Um, okay, great. So let's look at. I'll share my screen and we'll just get into the changes that we've got here. I will share a screen. I think it's going to be that one, and I will show us. There we are. Okay. So yeah, the changes are. What kind of screen is this? That's weird, isn't it? Why is that a very odd shape? I'm gonna. Ooh, that is a weird shape for a
Yeah,
non-enhanced
'cause
screen,
you're
isn't it?
using it in Hyper-V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it's normally square when you're not in the enhanced session. There it is. Okay. So we firstly, when you start using PSADT version 4.1 within a package, you will do the normal thing. So we'll just grab Notepad++, for example,
Hmm.
and do analyze and build. And this is where we can grab the template. Now you'll notice that it isn't default. Well, okay, it says default here. It isn't going to be the default for new packages. You'll have to specifically choose it, at least for a little while, because we don't want to take you will take that choice away from you when you're building new packages. It'd be ideal if you use version 4.11 from the start, but you might
Right.
have already all of your workflow and all your users might be used to version 3.9.10. So um, 3.9, I think it's 3.10.2. I can't remember the old version number anymore.
Yeah.
It's that old. So the old version
Yeah.
your users might be more familiar with. So we're not going to make all of your scripts change to version 4 immediately. You have to make a conscious decision when you're building an app. But I have made a decision here, and I've also built my own custom one that I'm going to show you later on with the deferral, so I can show you what the new interface looks like. But yeah, the point is that you have to actually go in and make that change. So when we have made
So,
that change, I've already
quick
downloaded.
question. So once you make that change once, does that stick with the 4.11, or do you have to do that every single time
Good point.
until Robopack makes that the default? So do you know the answer to that?
Mhm.
Okay.
So right now it's not going to be the default, and if you want to make it the default, then you can go into your script templates and make it the default.
Okay.
Just the same way you can create your own template and make that the default instead. So we're not making the default choice for you because it might, for all the reasons that I talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once we've made that decision on a per app basis at the moment, then it will build that app for you, and it'll be in version 4.1.1. And I can show you actually what the code. Apparently, I can't. I can show you. There it is. I think this might actually be version 4.1. Oh, no, 4.11. Okay, so slight changes with the with how this looks. There's a lot more variables now. It's got a array of apps that you might want to close, and it's set up at the top rather than in the install and uninstall section. As you can see, this is version 4. When I go back into that VM, which I need to go back to that VM, yes, so I can actually go and grab a package I've already got and show you the difference. So Firefox, for example, is the old version, and you can see this is what we've got here. And then Chrome is, there it is. Chrome is the new version. So it's got a lot more files in the root by the looks of it, or at least I think it's got more files in the root because of Chrome has more things that we do with it. So maybe that's not indicative of it.
Yeah.
But you'll notice that deploy application.exe has changed to invoke application app deploy toolkit, and then the PS1 is now invoke app deploy toolkit instead. That's I think that was obviously a conscious decision by the developers to make it more PowerShell like, because it's not really deploying an application. It was doing something with the app deploy toolkit. So I guess that's why they've changed it to that. But it makes more sense now. And then if we go into it, I don't need to go into it. I can just run it. So let me show you what happens where I just run this as admin. Now, obviously, you won't be running it as admin yourself when you're doing deployments. You could be, but that wouldn't make much sense. You'll be pushing it via Intune. But if I was waiting for Intune to do this, I could be sat here for days and days. So we have the new interface, which is very different. In fact, I'm going to move our little faces out of the way just to show that, which is very different because it now shows the app logo and also the PSADT logo. And it just looks different. It's a kind of a new toast notification rather than the pop-up that appeared with the previous version. So that's very interesting to see. But it's, again, you still allow deferrals and you can still install. And if I choose defer, it does exactly the same. Maybe it doesn't do it the same in the back end, but it's doing exactly the same for the end user, at least, where it will defer it for them. Okay, so that's the main changes. I think that was all I wanted to go through. Oh yeah, there is. Let me show you something else. There is something else which is important when you're creating a custom script in settings and script templates. Add new template. We can choose the main script that we're editing, and then we also have the ability to now not include the PSADT module, because it's possible that you can deploy this module to everyone up front so that we don't need to include it in every package. It does mention that on the tooltip. So I appreciate that's quite small for you to read, but it does mention that if you want to deploy the module to everyone, then you don't need to include it in the package, which can kind of very slightly reduce the package size. And for large organizations deploying lots of apps, that might be a thing, but obviously it's not default, so you're welcome to not do that.
Okay.
And then in the options, so we've still got this idea of the welcome dialog, which allows deferral, so that's not changed. But we also have this new icon upload, because rather than the banner, which used to be kind of a long, thin style banner, I think it was like 750 by 125 or something.
Yeah.
Now we've got the icon, which is square, as icons typically are. And if you don't specify an icon, it will make it'll just make it the app icon, which Robopack puts there by default anyway. So
Okay.
you put that.
Nice.
Yeah. As I say, big changes for the end user when they're seeing the interface. Small changes for the admin, but it's something that you're going to need to plan for if you are going to make that change.
Right.
I don't think we are upgrading existing scripts by default. I think that would be a risky thing to do, but I can't remember if we said we were going to do that. The point is, this is in test now. It's in the test environment for me to play with and for the rest of the team to have a look at and give feedback on. We are just a few days from releasing that to everyone, and I don't believe there are going to be many changes because we haven't figured out any issues yet. So, there shouldn't be too many changes you see here today.
Yeah, and for our viewers, we'll notify them through our social media channels that it's now available for them to play around with.
Absolutely. So there'll be a blog post on the Learn the Robopack University, and there will be a video, and then also I'm sure Harjit, you'll put some nice posts out with you and a robot, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah. I expect you've already got the thing planned. So
yeah. So now that's great, and I like the tip that you gave about the module too, because that's something that I think a lot of people will just not know.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits. One of the benefits of having it in a modular form is that you can do that. I personally don't think I would bother deploying the module to everyone, but there might be a really great reason you want to. And obviously, the point is that it's your choice, right? We don't tell you how to deploy apps. We just make it easier for you to do it using all the tools that are available. So it's really up to you whether you want to do that.
This is great.
Yeah. Good. So, the other thing I wanted to just touch on was Windows 10 end of life is coming pretty soon. So obviously you'll have heard that Windows 10 end of life is coming relatively soon. What are your thoughts on that, Archie?
I think it's crazy that I've been talking to some of my friends, especially some of those that work in universities and stuff, and they're scrambling at this point. I think they had some internal, I would say, politics, kind of like that setback. It wasn't the technology, it wasn't and now they're like at a point where they can't get everything upgraded to Windows 11 quickly in just 40 days or 50 days that we have now.
Yeah,
something like that is coming pretty close. So they some of them are actually going to entertain the ESU mechanism, at least for the first year, so that they can get everybody up there. I think with Microsoft and a lot of us IT pros and all that have been hopping this, guys, get on Windows 11, get on Windows 11 for the last couple of years or even last year. And most of the time when I'm at conferences or when I'm speaking and stuff like that and talking about Windows 11 stuff and ask how many of you moved and you only have a few hands and how many haven't, why? And the answer is usually applications. It's our applications. But when you ask them what applications, they don't really know. They think it's the applications that they're going to cause a blocker, right? So long story short, at the end of the day, if you're using something like Robopack, it streamlines all your application nuances, right? Because I think a lot of times is that you have folks that have been using Config Manager on premises. They're like, oh my God, I got so many applications. We don't have enough time to move them over to Intune. Well, Robopack is there to save the day, in my opinion, right?
Yeah,
So,
it makes it quite easy. And then
oh,
when you have radar, and you can take all the apps that you've got in the current environment and get them to the latest version, because if your issue is that they're not running the latest version and you don't want to have to package them all up again to get them onto Windows
exactly.
11, then radar just does that. It's
Mhm.
very easy to do.
I do get that there are some applications that are pretty finicky, right? Like some line of business apps and things like that. But also, Microsoft had provided a service called Fast Track.
Sure.
Yeah, Aperture, right? With Fast Track, and that's a service that a lot of people don't know or didn't know about until I was telling them about it. Like, did because they will work with your OEMs, they'll work with you to get that application compatible.
Mhm.
Um, So that's another avenue. If you're struggling, use these resources that are available to you.
It's also pretty rare that that line of business app that you're talking about, the thing that's a blocker, which is 50
Mhm.
years old and only runs on Windows 10. Um, it's unusual that that is an app that's deployed to everyone, like the finance team, the CEO, the
Yeah,
CFO, the VPs. It's unusual that it would be every single person in the business runs that. So you
yeah,
could probably start chipping away at people who don't use that app, and then you've only got a subset, ideally a small subset of people who you need to wait
yeah.
for the app to be
I've
available.
got a, I've got a really good story here, real quick. So when I was a sysadmin at higher ed in university, right? I was the patching guy. I was the one that create applications and patching Windows systems on a monthly basis. There was one time we pushed out, Windows updates. And then a couple of days later, I heard from an IT pro from one of the other colleges, uh, you know, and he said, "Hey, looks like this patch is broke. This application that we're using, whatever." So, what are you talking about? I'm not hearing any other complaints. Well, they had this very old Oracle-based application, right? And he did his due diligence and troubleshoot. He went one by one and uninstalled all the Windows updates and then started installing it until he found the one that broke. There was some kind of a .NET patch that broke it, and nobody else was complaining, right? So he said, "Hey, we can." I said, "No, I can't stop this patch because it's fixing a major vulnerability. It's huge." Well, now it's affecting about 100 people in his organization who use this application to do their day-to-day business stuff. Well, I said, "Well, did you talk to the vendor?" He said, "Yeah." We called the vendor. The vendor said, "Oh yeah, we have a fix. We have a new version. You are using 10 versions behind." And I said, "So why don't you upgrade?" Well, the person that actually set up this application is no longer working at the university, is gone. So they don't know how to do the upgrade and the migration. So you see, so I had to make an exception for just those systems
Yeah.
until we got a fix, right? Yeah,
And that's a must be a common thing for
that is a common
a
thing.
lot of
Yeah,
organizations. And if you're lucky if it's probably just one application. But as I say, it won't be affecting everyone, and you had to make an exception for some
yeah.
people, but the exception shouldn't be everyone, right? You should be
No,
able to deploy Windows 11 pretty easily. Actually, the upgrade path from 10 to 11 is incredibly easy. Actually,
it is. It's just, it's not even an upgrade. It's an update.
yeah.
It's the same. Basically, when you look at it under the hood, it's the same code system, right?
Mhm.
But
I think maybe the only difference would be for pushing new devices. So when
mhm,
you don't want to build Windows 10 for eternity and have it upgrade automatically to Windows 11. You're going to have
right.
to upgrade however you're building devices. And if that's autopilot, great. But if you're for some reason building with Config Manager or MDT, then you actually have some stuff to do.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's the point is it's not really an option anymore unless you want to pay a few pounds for
it's expensive.
ESU.
It's not worth it. Just get on Windows 11. It's slick. It's got all the features you need. It's accessibility friendly, and all that fun stuff, right? Um, I think also the other issues is not just applications. Is organizations are stuck between, we've been doing hybrid, Do we stay on hybrid or do we go complete cloud native, right? With Intune. So at that point, like, do we wipe and reload or do we just do basic, like just do upgrade? I feel like if you're at this point, just get your systems upgraded quickly, and then you can figure out, during your life cycle or your replacement cycle or whatever it is to do the wipe and reload or whatever to go to Entra completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that point, actually, I'll quickly share again. I'm still sharing? Am I still? There it is.
Yeah.
So myself and Steve Weiner and Lewis Barry actually are going to be running a session in Music
Mhm.
City about getting from hybrid. Do you want to go from hybrid
Yeah.
to autopilot or autopilot device prep, APDP, or nothing at all? What's the best way to get from where you are currently, or do you want to just stay hybrid? And that's the whole point of that session. So yeah, that'll be interesting, I think. But yeah, definitely do come along to that session if you're at Music City.
That's
But
a
yeah,
perfect session. Yeah.
yeah. But it's going to be a epic event, I think, as well. So do come along to that. On the subject of events, I'm also attending Experts Live UK.
Mhm.
Experts Live UK in not 22 hours. That's 26 days and 22 hours. That scared me for a second. Yeah, in 26 days on September 16th in London, completely free event now. The sponsors have made it possible for it to be completely free to attend, even though it's a whole day event with food and drinks and all that thrown in. So
Right.
it's going to be an incredible event to attend. But yeah, Central London, if you're around, do jump in and see us there as well. Robopack will be there and sponsoring with lots of swag. The swag orders have just gone in, so that should be a lot of stuff I'm carrying with
Oh
me.
my
But
God.
yeah, that'll be interesting.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's
Um,
great. And we'll be at MMS as well, and Robopack will be there as well, and um, it's going to be a good times. So yeah, it's a great topic that you have with Steve Weiner and stuff. For it's perfect timing, right?
yeah, there's a load of other sessions that we're doing actually together. Actually, I've got 3 sessions with Steve, I think, and
Fantastic.
yeah, but I don't know if they're announced yet, so I'm not going to go into them. But yes, I think Music City is it's a really nice event because it's a bit more relaxed compared to MOA, which Mall of America is much more intense. It's
Yeah,
just a busier event. There's so many more people there, whereas this is a little bit smaller.
exactly.
Most people who go to Mall of America know every bit of Mall of America, whereas these kind of half-year locations are you can go and explore and find new things and do things that are different. So it's a great event to go to.
Yeah.
It'll probably sell
So
out soon, so it might have
couple
already
of
sold out. So
yeah. So a couple of things. Speaking of Windows 11, I don't know if people know this though. Well, I got maybe 3 things I want to talk about Windows 11. One is keep in mind that when you're doing upgrades from 10 to 11, your traditional, over the top upgrades, your security settings, whatever you had in Windows 10, will be the same, right? So meaning that if you're doing, so a lot of the security settings in Windows 11 are actually on by default, but when you're doing an upgrade, they're not, right? Because they're respecting what you have set before in Windows 10. So if you really want all the default security settings that is on by default, then you got to do the whole wipe and reload kind of a thing to get
right,
your base. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing I want to mention is, speaking of Windows 11 and patching and stuff, um, there are a couple of issues with this month's August 2025 patches for Windows 11 24H2.
yeah, I
One of
think
them,
I've got them. I can
you
put them
got
on.
it?
I've
Okay.
got it on the screen. Yeah, bear with me a second. It should just be there. Actually, is that it?
Yeah, that's one of them. It's there's an issue with SSD failures or and hard disk drive failures with after installing KB 5063878 and 5062660. It's something to do with writing large files like really large files, like gigabytes worth, and then it crashes the SSD or something like that.
Right.
There is no fix at the moment, but Microsoft apparently is working on it. So that's one of them. Then the other one, I think you have that too.
Yeah, there it is.
So this one is um, it fails to install this patch if you are deploying using traditional WSUS or config manager, but this has been fixed. So
Right.
they have put out a new package out there. So if you haven't remedied this yet, just do your sync to get the new packages and then deploy. You should be fine now.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you're doing it with the monthly sync that some people do with WSUS, then even though they fix it, you're not going to be you've downloaded the old but broken version. So that's a good point.
And this wasn't an issue with Intune, by the way. So if you were deploying Windows updates to Intune, it was fine. It was just that whole WSUS mechanism.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
Good. So what I did want to show you very quickly was that I'm going to be running a short course completely for free, live course called Intune for
Excellent.
Windows Fundamentals. It's going to be on the Robopack University. So all you need to do is just click on Take Me There, and it will take you to the course page. I think you can get there without signing in, actually, for now. Yeah, and it's to give you the date and time. So 4 modules, just 1 hour long, to cover the fundamentals of Intune. So that's going to be on Tuesday, August 26th, and then also 27th, 28th, and 29th, same time of the
Excellent.
day. Yeah, 4 p.m. CET, 3 p.m. for me. The time, I think the times are right. I hope the times are right. But yeah, that's when I'm going to be live anyway. So yeah, you can just jump in, and it's not going to be on YouTube or LinkedIn. You need to come into the university because there are other things like the questions that we've got that you can take part in, and there's other downloadable things that you can download when you're running through this course. So yeah, the first thing you need to do is just register for the course. It's just a few questions to go through what your interests are to make sure we can tailor it for you. There's quite a few people registered already, so it should be an interesting course anyway. But it's completely for free, and really we're going to try and cover the fundamentals at first, and then we'll dive into later on. We'll dive into some more enrollment stuff with Autopilot, the changes with Autopilot and APDP, and then we'll go into application stuff as well. But like I say, completely for free. Just jump in if you want to. It'll also be available on demand, obviously, after. So if you haven't been able to watch all of them and jump into all of them, you can just grab that by registering for the course, and then it'll be on your university page for access.
This is perfect. You need the fundamentals. I think that's exactly where to start and get your hands dirty a bit. And also, I'm curious to hear you in your course talk about the autopilot and then autopilot. The APDP.
Yeah.
there are some differences right there as well.
Yeah, but the more I look at actually, because I'm building that. Well, I say building. I'm working with Steve and Lewis to build the PowerPoint for that session that we're running, and the more I look at it, APDP isn't actually as bad as I thought it was. When you first hear about it, it's like, well, I'll just stick with Autopilot, thank you. I'll just keep going as I am. I'm happy how it's working. But then you look at APDP, and actually, it's not that bad. And I think the best bit of it is that it doesn't support hybrid. And so as soon as as soon as it doesn't support hybrid, then I'm kind of thinking, well, I don't need to hate it because I hate hybrid. So the enemy of hybrid is my friend.
I think it's the best thing ever, getting rid of hybrid. I mean, oh my God, that has been one of the biggest pain points. Like people were using, and I remember being on the other side as an engineer working with customers, and they're like, "But we are doing." I said, "Well, please don't. No, we have to. We have to." I'm like,
yeah.
But we want autopilot to work. I'm like, yeah, there are challenges. This is why it doesn't work. And then Microsoft finally put out a statement that we highly don't recommend hybrid. There's an actual statement in their docs. So this is good. And I heard something, or I read something just in the last few days, that now autopilot, I think it's coming up in the next release or whatever, that it will do your updates during Ubi,
Mm.
um, but not for APDP though. It's for your traditional autopilot. I'll share the article. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, having
yeah,
the updates come through during Ubi, I think they did it at one point, and they had to like revert it or turn it off or something
yeah,
because it, it just made all of the deployments take much longer than people were expecting, and maybe you don't want all of the updates coming down immediately during the. So it must be selectable. It must be an optional thing. Otherwise, that
it is an optional thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. You can. There's a policy for it or something like that that I read.
I mean, it
Yeah,
makes sense, to have the OS as up to date as possible before the user signs in,
yeah.
but for the additional effort of the additional time it takes to get that update, people are already saying autopilot takes ages compared to imaging. So
Exactly. Exactly.
doubling that by installing an update during it feels like a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so we got a question from our friend Matt. Wanna pop that
Do
over?
I didn't see that? Ah, there we go. Hey, that is a bit too long for the screen, I think. So, do you have a feature that assigns the owners of unmanaged apps discovered by Radar emails them to confirm they still need it? And
Oh, that's an
with
interesting
periodic
question.
reminders and to keep it up to date. The owners of unmanaged apps discovered by Radar. Great thought. Yeah. So I guess what you're referring to, for people who aren't aware of that, I seem to just close my Robopack browser. That's a bad thing to do because
I
I'm not.
think I think Matt was listening to my university story with an Oracle app.
Yeah. Let me find it just because it's a great question.
That's a
I'm gonna
great question. Yes.
find
Thanks, Matt.
it. I mean, the answer is no, but it's a good enough question to talk about it. So we've got these apps that are ready for patching up the top here. These are the
Yeah.
ones that are in the library, and there's no need for anyone to keep those up to date because we're doing that. But you're right. At the bottom, we have these apps that aren't ready for patching. Now, these ones are apps that you would have to put into the library yourself. You would have to go to
Yeah.
the custom apps or the convert package feature and upload those. Um, and for now, this is all you get. I think actually you do get, you do get this. Um, uh,
Just the version information and
yeah,
stuff.
sorry,
Yeah.
you get the mine went blank there.
Yeah.
You get the version information and you get the number of devices that it's on. In this case, there's no devices, but it is on in Intune. So yes, that's a good point. I don't think we've really put much sort of many features on that on the apps not already for patching because really it's just a way of showing you which apps you need to take care of.
Right.
But that is a good question.
It is a good question. It's something that we have never got before. But
Yeah.
I think it's also you also will have to know who the owners of those apps are too, right? If you got a list of 10 or 15 apps, you're like, wait a
Hmm.
minute, who runs this? Who owns this?
Hmm.
Um, but I think you can like if there's enough information about how many devices, and then you can probably do some digging through, like by clicking the devices that it shows.
Hmm.
Let's say you have 10 or whatever, and you can see, oh, I see so and so. This device belongs to this individual who is an IT pro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
go and email or something like that. But
Yeah. But I think one of the things we've been quite careful to do, or at least the developers have been quite careful to do, is to not store too much information about the customer in these
yeah,
environments, because we don't want to be like a store of your information. That should be your environments that have that. So for example, we don't collect all the user information and stuff
right,
unless we've created a flow and then the user signed into the device and starts
right.
downloading it. So we only kind of get the information we need. Um,
But I
so
think
yeah,
what I'm saying is that they can do their research using Intune, right? Like if they get, because doesn't Intune give you a little bit more, not through Robopack, but Robopack gives them like, hey, these are the devices you have 5 devices, device A, B, C, D, and whatever.
hmm
and then they can pull that data from Intune and then do whatever they need to do on their own, right?
Yeah, but I guess if it's if he's referring to the owner, then that would be the person who actually needs to maintain that app rather than the
Yeah,
people who use it. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good question, but everything.
Hmm.
Um, there's loads of really good things that we could do with Robopack. I'm not sure if we'd be able to squeeze all of them in, but yeah, great question. Um, but the point that you raise about having to be reminded about keeping some things up to date, I think that's maybe more important,
Yeah,
or even maybe more important, but easier for us to do. Rather than being able to assign an owner, we could figure out which app it is if it's not in the library and tell you about the CVEs that are available for it, and then inform admins so that they know that they need to keep it up to date when a new version is released. I think that would be a cool thing to do.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, great question. Thank you for the question.
yeah. That's great.
Uh,
Oh,
what are we going to cover?
the other thing I want to remind people is that the webinar for Tenant Manager that you and Steve and Andrew did, that was just what, a week ago, I
Yeah,
think.
it was Wednesday. Yeah,
Time goes by so fast.
yeah.
But anyways, just a quick reminder for folks: if you missed it, you got to go check it out. You're gonna learn a lot. It was a lot of fun. Uh,
It
I had
was.
a lot of fun producing it from the back, behind the scenes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, thank you for that. That was that. Those videos that we made at the start. It was kind of a video, then live, and then video, then live again. That was fun to make, but I'm really glad you were able to string those together in a way that actually worked. And
yeah,
if Steve didn't throw us both off by moving off camera before he was meant to be sat in his chair, then I think it would have been even better because I was
I was
gen-
freaking out too. I was freaking. I'm
genuinely
like,
scared
wait.
when he left his. You can see it before you put people on live. You can see their tiny thumbnail of their camera, and he just left the room. It was like, you're going live in 5 seconds, Steve. Get back to your desk.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that
that
was
was fun.
perfect though.
It was
Uh,
good. It was really good.
Yeah,
Really.
but in overall, that session was very informative. I mean, you guys talked a lot about why you should how you should manage your tenants, why it's important, what happens. You got for insurance purposes, and all that. There's a lot of details there that people should know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, Excellent. Okay, so that is pretty much it. We do need to get off the live
yeah.
stream so that we can prepare for the next one, which is going live in a few moments. The next one actually is in German. So for me, I'm not going to be.
Ah,
I mean, I'm interested in German and learning German. Maybe this isn't the time for me to try and learn German. But yeah, that's going to be live um, on not this channel, but on the Software Central channels, on YouTube and LinkedIn.
in a few
Also,
minutes.
with our partner Transformation, will be on their YouTube channel, and then also Yannick Reinhard is going to be joining that with the Transformation team. So it's going to
Oh,
be,
a wonderful friend Yannick. That's great. Yep.
yes, yeah, he's going to give some insight into AI stuff, I think, but that's his thing. But yeah, this was lovely again. Thanks for joining,
Yeah.
everyone. Thanks, Harjit, for your time.
Yeah.
Again, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll do another one of these. I'm not sure if we're doing anything fun next week. I'm running the course. Yeah, so I'll be
Yeah.
live
Next
in
week's
my
a
own little
course.
cocoon
Yeah.
at 3 p.m. my time. But yes, excellent. Okay, good to
All
see
right.
you.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining.
Until next time.
See you.